Something really shifting gears from just tech talk to, a massive economic player. Artificial intelligence.
Yeah, AI.
You've probably seen the headlines flying around, but what we want to do here is give you a real solid grasp of AI's financial clout. Think of it as a shortcut, to understanding this major trend without drowning in data.
Exactly. And we've been digging into some heavy-hitting analysis, folks like PwC, UNCTAD, Grandview Research, IDC, and McKinsey Company.
Right.
So our mission for this deep dive is basically to pull out the absolute must-know insights, the scale of the money involved, what's actually pushing this growth, and, the real impact it's having right now.
Okay, let's dive right in then. The numbers being thrown around for AI's economic impact are just wow. PwC, for instance, they're estimating up to $15.7 trillion in global economic contribution by 2030.
Yeah, 15.7 trillion. It's a staggering figure.
It really is. What does a number like that even mean in the grand scheme of things?
Well, it's huge. A contribution that big would be a fundamental shift, kind of on par with, past big tech revolutions. And PwC breaks it down interestingly.
How so?
They see about $6.6 trillion coming from, increased productivity, AI, making things faster, better, automating stuff.
Okay, the efficiency gain makes sense.
But then, and this is fascinating, they see an even bigger chunk, $9.1 trillion, coming from the consumption side. New products, better services, things driven by AI that change what we buy and use.
Huh. So it's not just businesses saving money, it's actually creating new demand too.
Precisely. It hits both supply and demand, which puts it in a slightly different league than just, say, a pure automation technology.
Gotcha. Now, UNCTAD, they have some pretty big numbers too. They see the market going from, around $189 billion last year?
Yep, 2023.
To $4.8 trillion by 2033. That seems like an incredibly steep curve.
Yeah.
What's behind that kind of rocket fuel?
So UNCTAD frames it within this wider frontier technology market. Think biotech, nanotech, robotics, all that cutting-edge stuff.
Their projection. That AI could gobble up nearly 29% of that entire advanced tech market by 2033.
Wow, almost a third.
Yeah. It suggests AI isn't just growing on its own, it's becoming like the central engine for a whole lot of future tech development. A real reordering of priorities.
And that momentum, it feels real when you look at Grandview Research, too. They're predicting $1.81 trillion in worldwide AI revenue by 2030. And get this, a compound annual growth rate of 37.3%.
Yeah, that CGR is pretty wild. Over 37% growth year on year for a market that's already huge.
It's nuts.
It really suggests we're nowhere near plateauing. It points to constant new applications popping up, more and more companies jumping in. We're likely still just scratching the surface.
Okay, then IDC throws out an even bigger number, $19.9 trillion contribution to the global economy by 2030, driving maybe 3.5% of global GDP.
And they even put a return on investment figure on it. For every dollar a business spends on AI, they reckon it could generate $4.60 back into the global economy. $4.60 back for every dollar in.
Yeah.
That's a pretty powerful argument for companies to get on board.
It really highlights this potential multiplier effect, doesn't it? It's not just about the initial spend, it's about the value rippling outwards. AI as a driver of actual economic expansion, not just a cost.
Clearly, the economic landscape is going to look pretty different thanks to AI. But all this AI power needs actual power, right? Infrastructure.
Oh, massively.
Yeah.
McKinsey looked at this. They're projecting a need for something like $6.7 trillion worth of data centers by 2030.
$6.7 trillion.
Yeah. And get this, $5.2 trillion of that specifically for AI processing.
Wow.
The computing demands for modern AI, especially training those huge language models, are just immense. So that $5.2 trillion, it's like the physical foundation needed to support this whole digital AI revolution. It's real steel and silicon.
So summing up that first part, a technology poised to create trillions in value, but also needing trillions in investment just for the plumbing. Okay, let's get into the why. What are the actual engines driving this crazy growth?
Well, number one is probably the productivity boost. It's huge. AI automating tasks, the repetitive stuff, but also optimizing really complex processes and, crucially, augmenting what humans do.
Augmenting. How so?
Letting people offload the grunt work to focus on, like strategy, creativity, the higher level stuff. McKinsey thinks corporate AI use alone could add $4.4 trillion just through productivity gains.
Okay, so not just replacing, but enhancing human work, too.
Exactly. It's about making work smarter, more effective.
That makes sense. What else is fueling the fire?
Innovation. Big time. AI isn't just making old things better, it's enabling totally new stuff. Think generative AI spitting out text, code, images, creating personalized experiences, things that were science fiction a few years ago.
Right.
And look at AI agent software acting autonomously. That market's projected to go from maybe $5 billion now to over $200 billion by 2035. That's a whole new category taking shape.
AI agents.
Yeah.
Yeah, that feels like a significant leap. And I guess just the sheer power of AI to crunch data must be a huge factor.
Oh, absolutely critical. AI can chew through data on a scale humans just can't manage. Finding patterns, making connections. This leads to much sharper decision-making, whether it's spotting market shifts or speeding up medical diagnoses.
Better insights from all that data we're generating.
Precisely. And that leads to another driver, personalization.
Ah, yes. Everything tailored just for you.
Exactly, but at a massive scale, hyper-personalization.
Mhm.
Businesses can tailor interactions, recommendations, everything to a degree never possible before. That boosts engagement, loyalty, and ultimately revenue.
Okay, so productivity, innovation, better decisions, personalization. But underpinning all this are the actual improvements in AI tech itself, right? We hear all these buzzwords, machine learning, deep learning, NLP.
Yeah, and the progress there is key. Machine learning lets systems learn from data, adapt without explicit instructions for everything. Deep learning, kind of a subset, powers a lot of the really complex stuff, understanding images, speech, and natural language processing. NLP, that's about bridging the gap between computers and human language understanding text, generating text.
And the large language models, the LLMs, fit in there.
Exactly. LLMs are trained on insane amounts of text, letting them understand and generate human-like language incredibly well. All these pieces, ML, DL, NLP, LLMs, those AI agents are all advancing together, pushing the boundaries.
And it feels like this tech, it's not just for the Googles and Microsofts anymore. It seems more available.
That's a huge point. It's becoming more democratized. Cloud computing helps. Costs are coming down. There are more user-friendly tools, pre-trained models you can adapt.
So smaller companies can actually get involved.
Definitely. And you see it in the adoption numbers. One report mentioned nearly 80% of organizations using AI in some form in 2024. That's up massively from just over half the year before. Accessibility is driving adoption like crazy.
Okay, so massive potential, driven by efficiency, new ideas, smarter decisions, tailored experiences, and tech that's getting both better and easier to use. Let's talk about where this is actually happening. Which industries are really running with AI?
Healthcare and life sciences are right at the front. It's really transforming things. Think AI spotting patterns in scans for faster diagnostics. The FDA approved over 200 AI medical devices just last year.
Wow, 200.
Yeah. Plus, speeding up drug discovery, creating personalized treatment plans based on your specific profile, even just making hospital workflows run smoother.
That's incredibly impactful, directly improving health outcomes. Okay, what about more traditional business areas? Finance.
No, finance is all over it. They deal with tons of data and need speed and accuracy, right? So AI for fraud detection, spotting weird patterns in real time. Algorithmic trading, obviously. Better risk modeling.
And those robo-advisors.
Yep, robo-advisors giving personalized financial advice, chatbots handling customer queries. It's embedded pretty deeply now.
Makes total sense. Where else? Retail.
Retail and e-commerce are being completely reshaped. You see it constantly. Those personalized product recommendations you get, that's AI.
Right. Sometimes creepily accurate.
Yeah. Dynamic pricing that changes based on demand. Optimizing supply chains so stuff is actually in stock. Visual search, take a picture of something, find it online. And now, Gen AI writing marketing copy or creating product images.
So basically, the whole shopping journey, online and maybe even offline, is touched by AI.
Pretty much. And manufacturing, too, what they call Industry 4.0.
How's AI used there? On the factory floor?
Yeah, predicting when machines might break down before they do predictive maintenance. Using computer vision for quality control, spotting tiny flaws humans might miss, optimizing supply chains, managing inventory, and yeah, more robots, smarter robots doing assembly tasks.
Okay, so healthcare, finance, retail, manufacturing, it feels like it's everywhere. The tech sector itself must be a huge player.
Absolutely. Tech, communications, entertainment, they're both building the AI and using it heavily.
Yeah.
AI is baked into software everywhere. Those recommendation engines on Netflix or Spotify, AI.
Keeping us glued to screens.
Basically. And it's driving huge demand for specialized hardware, think NVIDIA's chips. Companies like ServiceNow are talking about $1 trillion opportunity just providing enterprise AI solutions.
$1 trillion just for enterprise AI.
Okay.
And cars. autonomous vehicles.
Definitely a huge AI application. Self-driving cars are the big long-term vision. But AI is already crucial in cars today. Advanced driver assistance systems, lane keeping, emergency braking.
Yeah, ABS.
Right. Plus AI in the manufacturing process itself and creating those smoother in-car infotainment experiences.
Okay, even like the energy sector.
Yep, even energy. AI helps forecast electricity demand more accurately, optimize the power grid so it's more stable and efficient, predict maintenance needs for wind turbines or pipelines, even helps research new battery tech or renewable sources.
It really is touching almost everything. Okay, so for a company looking at all this, how do they actually make money from AI? What are the business models?
Well, one common way is just embedding AI into what they already sell, taking an existing product or service and adding smart features.
Like making it predictive or automated.
Exactly. Adding predictive insights, automating certain functions, that often justifies a higher price point because it delivers more value, making their standard offering AI enhanced.
Okay, enhancing existing stuff. What about building completely new AI things?
That's the second big route, developing standalone AI products or services. Think specialized analytics platforms driven purely by AI, or tools that generate marketing content, or even AI consulting services. New offerings built from the ground up around AI.
And then there's providing the tools for others, right? Like AI as a service.
Yes, building AI platforms and ecosystems, providing the underlying tools, the APIs, the computing power, so other companies can build their own AI applications on top. That's a huge area.
Given how much AI relies on data, is selling data or insights becoming a thing?
Definitely. Data monetization is key. Companies with unique data sets can use AI to analyze them and sell the resulting insights that's insight as a service. Or they might sell carefully prepared, curated data specifically for training AI models data as a service.
Interesting. And how are they charging for all this? Subscription? Pay as you go?
It's a mix, really, evolving fast. Subscriptions are common for software and platforms. Usage-based pricing is big, too. You pay for how much computing power you use or how many API calls you make.
Okay.
Then you've got tiered pricing, basic, premium, enterprise levels with different features. Some are trying value-based pricing, linking the cost directly to the business results the AI delivers, which is tricky but appealing.
Like you pay based on how much money it saves you.
Sort of, yeah. Or outcome-based. And of course, freemium give basic AI features away, free to hook users, then charge for advanced stuff.
Lots of different models bubbling up. It makes sense given the potential here. Which brings us to investment. That must be a frenzy.
Oh, absolutely. An investment boom. Private investment is huge, especially in the U.S., over $100 billion forecast for 2024 alone.
100 billion.
Wow, and generative AI specifically, that drew nearly $34 billion globally in private money recently, up almost 19% year on year. It's red hot.
And it's not just VCs, right? Big companies are pouring money in too.
That's right. Corporate investment is surging. Something like 92% of companies say they plan to increase their AI spending in the next few years. That's almost universal belief from established players that this is critical.
And we talked about the infrastructure costs. That must be attracting big money too.
It's huge amounts. Capital's flowing into the hardware, those specialized chips like GPUs, ASICs, and the giant data centers needed to run AI workloads. Projections are talking trillions in capital expenditure just for AI hardware by 2030.
Trillions again. And globally, is there a race going on, like US versus China?
There's definitely a geopolitical angle. Right now, the U.S. seems to be leading in developing the absolute top-tier, most advanced AI models. But China is moving incredibly fast, improving performance, and they actually lead in the sheer number of AI research papers published and patents filed. So yeah, it's a competitive landscape, which probably just fuels more investment and faster progress.
It's a huge opportunity, massive investment. But it can't all be smooth sailing. There have to be challenges, things to watch out for.
Oh, definitely. There are significant hurdles. One is simply the cost. Developing and deploying really sophisticated AI, plus the infrastructure needed, it's expensive. That's a barrier, especially for smaller players.
Right. And finding people who actually know how to do this stuff.
The talent shortage is a major bottleneck. Demand for AI experts, machine learning engineers, data scientists, AI architects way outstrips supply. That can really slow things down.
And data itself isn't that complicated. Privacy, bias.
Hugely important. Data governance and privacy are massive concerns. How do you use data responsibly? How do you ensure fairness and avoid bias creeping into the algorithms? These ethical questions, the need for responsible AI transparency, accountability, are critical.
And the rules are still being written, I guess.
Exactly. The regulatory landscape is evolving everywhere, trying to keep up with the tech that creates uncertainty.
And just practically plugging this advanced AI into existing, maybe older company systems must be tough.
Yeah, integration complexity is a real bear. Trying to mesh cutting-edge AI with legacy IT systems and established business processes, that's often a difficult, time-consuming, and expensive process. Requires careful planning.
Okay, so wrapping this all up,
Yeah.
it's undeniable, isn't it? AI isn't just some future tech anymore. It's a fundamental economic engine right now with trillions of dollars attached,
Absolutely.
driven by all those factors we discussed: productivity, innovation, better insights, personalization, the core tech getting better, and it's touching pretty much every industry you can think of.
Right.
There are definitely big challenges: cost, talent, ethics, integration, but the sheer momentum, the investment, the innovation, it feels like AI's economic shadow is only going to get longer and wider. Hopefully, this deep dive has given you, our listener, a really solid map of this huge shift.
Indeed. And maybe a final thought to leave you with. As you think about this incredible growth, this multi-trillion-dollar potential of AI, what else might bubble up? What new opportunities or maybe new challenges for us as individuals, for society, haven't we even touched on yet, but seem like logical next steps? How does all this connect to what you do or what you care about? It's definitely something worth mulling over.